What is going down, my YouTube family? It is your boy Zeri, and we are here for the third installment of tier listing the champions by their move kit only. And today we are going to do the Lasir. So, again, I'm just going to pull up quickly the tier list rankings. We have S tier, which is drop everything you're doing and build out that character. A is right near the top, but I wouldn't drop what you're currently working on. B is middle of the pack. C is if you have nothing else, and D is do absolutely nothing. So over in the Lasir we have legendary, epics, and elites. So let's jump into these characters and see what we got. We're gonna start off first with Marion. So starting off with her trait, we're reading Ascensions only. Lifesteal of all team members is increased by 25%. Really good move, increasing longevity of your party. Starting off with then moving to her basic, deals 80% damage and applies defensive down. So we're seeing two really good moves on Marion. Her special protects an ally for 2 turns, during which any damage or healing received by the protective ally is delayed until the end of their turn. Damage taken is reduced by 50% of the total, while healing and lifesteal effects are boosted by 150%. Great move. And then Trample deals 150% damage to an enemy and heals the team member with the lowest health for 100% of the damage dealt. Alright, so with Marion, what we're seeing is we're seeing passive healing, increasing the longevity of your team. Where are we going to rank Marion? So Marion's got a really good kit. I love what she brings to the table. I am going to put her as a high B tier champion based off her move kit. She could pretty much fit into any party. You pair her with a healer, like a Blackhorn. She could be really solid. Definitely would increase the longevity of your runs. So, bringing defensive down increases the overall damage. Just a really solid champion. So, definitely B tier for sure. Next one up on the list is Evelyn, the starter champion. So, let's take a look at her. This character's attack increases by 8% at the end of every turn, up to 5. So, you're looking at 40% extra attack. Really solid trait. Basic deals 80% damage to an enemy with a 50% chance to launch a bonus basic counterattack. Again, very solid. Deals 50% damage to an enemy and applies defensive down for 2 turns. And then on her ultimate, deals 250% damage to an enemy, guaranteed critical strike if the enemy has defensive down. So we're seeing the defensive down just kind of increasing your overall party damage, right? And then she has an extra 40% once that stacks. So after 5 turns, she's getting 40% damage. Attack is in the A tier. So where are we going to rank Evelyn? All right, Evelyn for me comes in at a low B tier. I think there's things, if you're struggling for a defensive down, you don't have the spell to put that on. She could come in handy, but she's a low B tier, high C tier. Definitely wouldn't be bad building her out, but not on Marion level. So I think that's fair. Next champion up is Freya. Freya, valid hits that deal damage have a 50% chance of implying defensive down. When she's ascended, that's 100%. So again, we're seeing a defensive down champion. Launches 2 strikes, dealing 80% total damage to an enemy. Each strike has a 50% chance of applying speed down. So we're seeing 2 very solid buffs. Or debuffs, sorry. Deals 120% damage to an enemy and launches a joint attack with a random ally. That could really come in handy on certain dungeons, so that could be nice. And then here, deals 200% damage to an enemy and applies unhealable and no positive effects for 2 turns. So the no positive effects and unhealable are very good. I think there's only 3 champs in the game that provide that unhealable. So she could definitely be, fun to play around with. She's pretty average all the way around on her stats, so really nothing crazy there. But where are we gonna put Freya? So Freya for me comes in at a high C tier. The only reason I really build out a Freya is if you need that unhealable. No positive status effects kind of get nerfed when it comes to bosses because you can't control them. But that unhealable could be huge, but she's not like a groundbreaking character. Damage isn't the best, so I'm putting her at a high C tier. Next one up is Anna, and I just realized I put Anna at high C tier, so I changed that up. You'll see it next time around. But anyways, the ability: attacks deal bonus damage equal to 10% of this character's max health. Okay. Is it bonus attacks? Oh, deal bonus damage. Okay, that makes more sense. Her basic deals 100% damage to an enemy with a 20% chance to apply stun. Stuns are nice, but 20% chance is super low. You're not even taking that into consideration because the chance to land it is so slow. Plus, you can't do that on bosses. So, okay. Deals 100% damage to an enemy and applies speed down and attack down for 2 turns. Now, attack down is extremely powerful in this game. Turn meter manipulation with the speed down. I like this move way better. And then deals 200% damage to an enemy with a 75% chance to apply taunt. Grants this character is invincible for 1 turn. So again, you're seeing taunt and invincible. Taunt is not, you can't do it for bosses. It's a 75% chance. It's not guaranteed. But I do like how this scales off of max health, because if she's taunting, you're going to want to build that up. But her overall damage isn't. So she becomes kind of convoluted in how are you going to build her out. Are you going to build her for health? Are you going to build her for attack? Like, I would personally build her for health, because if she's putting up that taunt, but she is getting the invincible, so tricky. Where are we going to put Anna? Okay, got the right person this time. Anna, I'm going to put as a C tier. Middle of the road. She really, to me, reading her move kit, you're torn between, how, like I was saying, how you're going to build her, what stats do you want on her. Her damage isn't really that good. Her health's not really, B tier. It's all middle of the road. There's definitely characters that do what she does that are easily available. So going to C tier on that one. We're moving into the epics. We have Marion Shadowblood, who's a dark, really cool design. Starting with her trait. Attacks landed by allies have a 30% chance to land a joint attack. Trigger chance scales on this character's speed. Okay, so the faster we're going to make her, the better chance you have to launch. That'd be really good against, I think it's Bane's Wrath, or if somebody has a shield you're trying to cut through. Really solid. Do like the way that works. She is only a B speed, and her defense is low, but we'll have to see how that plays out. Deals 50% damage to an enemy plus true damage equal to 3% of this character's max health. Or of the target's max health. Could be very good against bosses. Kinda that's where I'm seeing the first 2 moves. Removes all negative effects. Deals 100% damage to an enemy after healing by 30% of max health. Okay, so that could make up for the defense at a C. And deals 100% damage to all enemies plus true damage equal to 8% of the target's max health. Applies Unholy Retribution to this character for 2 turns, and that is damage reduction by 50% and lifesteal by 40%, and it can't be removed. So I'm definitely seeing boss vibes with her, like character, or the target's max health, and then her trait with the counterattacks. I'm definitely getting the boss vibe from her. So where are we going to rank Marion Shadowblood? Marion Shadowblood is a high B tier to me. She is dark, so she's harder to counter, but that means you're also not going to hit as hard, really, unless you're going against those specific light and shadow dungeons. She seems like she'd be a lot of fun to build and try to play out, but based off of her kit, I'm only really seeing boss vibes from her, and I wouldn't drop what I'm doing to build her if I pulled her. Next one up, we have Scarlett. Scarlett, starting off with her trait. Scarlett is accompanied by her wolf at the start of the battle. The wolf deals 30% damage to the target with a 50% chance to apply bleeding. So the ascension is all enemies take 50% more damage from bleeding. Scarlett is accompanied by her wolf, and that stays the same. So bleed is going to be huge. At the end of the turn, deals damage based off caster's attack. So you want to build your attack as high as possible with the bleed team. So, and she does have A tier attack. Deals 60% damage to an enemy with a 100% chance to apply bleeding for 2 turns. So with the basic, putting her in a counter attack set would be really, really cool with her. But her overall damage isn't crazy. You're looking, at least on her basic, you're looking for more damage from the bleed, right? Her passive, any attacks against an enemy affected by bleeding triggers a bonus wolf attack. It transfers lethal damage against this character to any wolves present. This is really cool because you're kind of getting a cheat death with her as long as she has one of her wolves up. So that is really cool. But they have to be under that bleeding effect to get that bonus attack from the wolf. And I wish we kind of knew what her wolf, how hard it hit and what it did, right? And then her ultimate deals 150% total damage to an enemy in 3-pronged attack. Each strike of which is either 100%, 50%, 30% chance to apply bleeding for 2 turns. Summons 1 wolf if no wolves are present. So that's how we get her wolf out. I love this move until it says each attack of which is either a 100%, 50%, or 30% chance. So is the first one 100%? Is the second one 50 and the third one 30? We don't know that. I don't like the way that works because if you could get any of those and you're having a 5-turn cooldown on an ultimate and you're getting a 30% chance every time, that sucks. So Scarlett, where are we putting her? Alright, so we have Scarlett, and where are we putting her? I mean, she has great attack, bleeds are cool, she has the cheat death, but she doesn't really hit very hard. You're really building her for a bleed comp, so I'm going to put her as a B tier. I would actually build out a Marion over her based on the overall kit that I'm reading. If you have tons of bleed champions, that could go up, but she really needs to, I think, would be paired with other bleed champions or a solid healer. So no rush, but not a bad kit overall. Keep moving here. We have Kyle. Kyle is a water champion, and his trait: attacks on this character reduce the cooldown on their ultimate ability by 1 turn. I like this trait quite a bit, but it can only be triggered once per round, right? So what we gotta think about there is you want him to take a hit, but at the same time, you only want him to take a hit once per round. So, okay. If that little caveat wasn't there, that'd be really cool, but then he'd probably be running his ultimate all the time. Deals 100% damage to an enemy with a 50% chance to apply attack down. Okay. It's pretty standard attack down, though. Really powerful. Counterattacks when attack, dealing 50% damage with a 30% chance to apply silence for 1 turn. This is a control effect, so it doesn't work against bosses or anything like that, right? Can only be used, that silence means they can only use their basic ability, so that could be pretty devastating. And then a chameleon shapeshifts into the targeted enemy for 2 turns, immediately grants 1 bonus turn plus another turn at the end of the round. This shapeshift does not work against bosses or elite units. So it's an 8-turn cooldown. But you're getting a bonus turn, so you use this, you get a bonus turn, and then at the end of the round you get another bonus turn. So we're looking at a 6-turn cooldown, and shape-shifting, definitely more like PvP vibes I'm getting from Kyle for sure, with the silence, right? Shape-shifting, the counter-attacking, the AoE burst damage would help reduce that cooldown of his ultimate. So where are we going to put Kyle? Kyle for me falls right into that B tier, kind of with Scarlett. Would be fun to play around with if you're a big PvPer. Could be an A tier, but I'm not really seeing a lot of outside potential other than PvP and campaigns, to be completely honest. Again, fun character, but no rush to build him out. Next one up is Vance, as we keep rolling through the epics here. Vance's trait ignores all targets' positive effects when attacking. And then when you ascend him, attacks ignore all positive effects. Damage increased by 20% if this enemy has a positive status effect. So we're seeing Dispel. Dispel's really underrated, especially if it's an unkillable or invincible, sorry. You know, or the attack ups, the shields. Really, really good trait here on Vance. 100% damage to an enemy and applies attack down. Guaranteed attack down. Love it. Love it. And then you gotta think, every time he goes, he's clearing that. So definitely a counterattack set on this guy. For sure. Or you put him with somebody who can call somebody in to assist. Would be huge. Deals 100% damage to an enemy and duplicates all of their positive status effects onto this character. So the AI might not play him very well, because if you're going after somebody with low health but they don't have positive status effects, you're like nullifying his whole kit. So that's something to keep in mind as I'm reading it. And then deals 200% damage to an enemy. Damage increased by 20% for each positive status effect on the enemy. So again, are they going to play him right? Vance is a very interesting character. And where are we going to put him? So when we look at Vance, right? I'm going to put Vance as a low tier A. I think based off his move kit, I'd be concerned about the AI. But having a Dispel where you're removing all positive status effects, then you're duplicating them. You know, you have a 100% chance for attack down. He's great kit. And I think he could be used, you know, without playing him, reading his kit. I think he could be used in multiple areas of the game. PvP, he could be used in campaigns, you know, Void Tower. He could be used in a lot of different places. So definitely I would put him as a A-tier champion. Last epic up on the list is we have Hugh. And Hugh, 50% chance to launch a counterattack against a slower enemy's use of any skill, and then it's a 100% chance against a slower enemy's use of any skill. So, okay, anytime you attack somebody who's slower than you, you're going to go again, or you're going to get that counterattack chance. So, bosses would be really big. Campaign, you just build this guy fast. He does have S tier speed at 140 to start. Interesting. Deals 70% damage to an enemy. Damage scales with this character's speed. Okay, so we're seeing speed on this guy constantly. Deals 100% damage to all enemies with a 75% chance to apply speed down. So group-wide speed down, that would automatically push him higher, increasing his damage, giving a chance to counterattack. I like this kit a lot. Deals 200% damage to an enemy if the enemy's speed is lower than this character, then ignore 50% of defense. That's big. Big. 200% damage. He's got an A-tier attack. Hugh. Really interesting kit. One of the most favorite ones I've read out of Lasir. So where are we placing him? So with Hugh, he is a top tier A for me. Based off his kit, you build him straight for speed with attack substats or speed substats with high attack. Let him do his thing. Get him out in front. Even boost him up with his speed, like a Winstrix. He is Wood or Joseph. Somebody could give him like a speed boost, increasing his turn meter. And then with the AoE speed down, could benefit slower characters in your party. I really see this guy could be used anywhere. Bosses are notoriously slower than you anyways, so you could counterattack all the time. Really like that kit. Moving into our first legendary, Evelyn First Dawn. And Evelyn First Dawn, here we go. Grants defensive up to all team members for 3 rounds. And then ascended its defense and attack up for 3 rounds. That'd be great for, a lot of champions. Like I'm thinking of Vera has you need to attack up to launch bonus attacks, but giving yourself 20% extra attack and then 20% extra defense, increasing longevity, increasing damage. Excellent trade. Deals 80% damage to an enemy and removes 1 of their positive status effects. Alright, so we're seeing a Dispel, not really high damage. I don't think we're going to see a lot of damage output based on her trait. Deals 100% damage to an enemy and applies defensive down 2 for 2 turns. So that's 50% defensive down. Or defense. That's huge. Defensive down 2 is big. Does 100% damage to all enemies and grants a bonus turn to all allies at the end of the round. Right there is that ultimate's sick. You pair her with somebody like a Windstrix that could keep refeeding that ultimate cooldown. You could do crazy amounts of damage. So you're not really building her for damage. You're building. She's reading like an ultimate support character. Really good buffs, really good debuff, helping out your whole party by giving them extra turns. Yeah. Where are we gonna put Evelyn First Dawn? Evelyn First Dawn's kit reads as an S. You pull her, you build her. She's a great support champion. The only thing she's really missing is kind of like a heal. Right? She doesn't provide the heal for your party, but other than that, she does it all. Attack up, defensive down, increasing your overall damage, giving everybody extra turns. Phenomenal kit. I would love to pull her. Next one up is Nicholas. The first light hero I did pull, but grants this character the speed of the fastest ally +1 at the start of the battle. At the start of every round, grants this character speed of the fastest ally. So this is the start of the battle, start of every round. So that's a big difference in the Ascension. Deals 100% damage to an enemy. If this enemy's health is below 50% after the attack, he grants a bonus attack on all enemies. So he's kind of doing an AoE if they're under 50%. Very nice. Good S tier attack, A tier crit rate. When this character takes lethal damage, if there is still an ally in the battlefield, confers death immunity and replaces the ultimate ability for 2 turns. This ability can only be triggered once per battle. So what happens using him? I've used him so I can explain this a little. You have 3 champions left. He dies. He gets death immunity, and then his ultimate comes back. Right? So very good passive. Then his Holy Sword deals 100% damage to all enemy forces and enhances the stats of one random ally by 100% of this caster's attack. So the only part I don't like about this is a random ally. Now it could happen that it goes onto your healer, and if your healer isn't healing based off of his health or attack, it does nothing, right? Because then they're going to heal, or they're going to, say it goes to Connor, and Connor uses his shield up. It'll help get that shield bigger because of his attack, but that's not what you're kind of looking for. So I don't like the randomness of that. So where are we going to put Nicholas? Nicholas, for me, is a high A tier. Beats out Hugh. Now, the reason Nicholas isn't an S tier is because the damage overall, you got to really get his crit rate up. He's very stat heavy. There's a couple caveats which make his move kit sound great, but if it's not there, it hurts, like being under 50% health to do that, trigger that bonus attack. The Ascension on him is going to be huge, so you get that every round. Overall, fantastic champ based off his kit, but I'd put him as an A tier, high A tier, low tier, S tier. So now we have Darkened Nicholas. His trait is when this character's health falls below 50%, he enters Dark Avatar. Dark Avatar replaces basic and ultimate abilities. Swapping basic and ultimate abilities, so he can just use his ultimate over and over again. Alright, and then when he's ascended, swaps the basic and ultimate and grants a shield for 1 turn. Can only be triggered once every 2 rounds. Okay. I mean, being able to just constantly pump out your ultimate is crazy. That's pretty good. Let's read his ultimate, though. Does 100% damage to an enemy. Damage scales with the amount of health lost by this character. I do not like when health needs to be lost to do more damage. And then, based off his trait, at 50%, you swap his ultimate. So let's read his ultimate, but you might even want to use his basic. So, okay. Upon taking massive damage, grants 4 stacks of death immunity. 1 stack is removed for every subsequent attack. But what is massive damage? What is qualified as massive damage? Can you do massive damage? Can anybody but bosses do massive damage? Maybe Zadlux? I don't know. I don't know what massive damage means. Deals 150% damage to 2 enemies and applies unhealable for 2 turns. Damage scales with health lost of this character. So you're getting it. You're replacing. Okay, so his basic and his ultimate flip-flop. That's cool. Because putting up unhealable would be huge. Seeing PvP vibes with this guy. Where are we going to put Darkened Nicholas? Darkened Nicholas. I don't like when characters have to lose stuff. Pretty randomness of his kit. But PvP alone, even if you're just going to use him there, he'd be an A tier. I'd rather have the Lightened Nicholas based off the move kits than Darkened. If you're a huge PvPer, he goes up here. If you're not, he's an A tier. Overall, I think he's an A tier. You know, there's some questions with this kit. What is massive damage? So, you know, and then you can only use it every 2 rounds. So definitely an A tier. I think that's fair. Final champion, Valeria. I chose Valeria out of my summoning, so I'm going to try to be partial with her. Reduces all abilities cooldowns by 1 turn upon the death of an enemy. And then reduces all enemy cooldowns upon the death of any unit. So what that means is, until she's ascended, it's an enemy. After she's ascended, it's anyone can die. Your party, their party. Just in case if somebody was confused. Deals 100% damage to 2 enemies with a 50% chance of applying defensive down. I think for a legendary, it should be 100% chance for a defensive down. You know, that's just me. She's a legendary. We're seeing people put 100% on a basic. I mean, who are elites, epics, so. Deals 100% damage to all enemies and recovers health equal to 35% of the damage dealt. So we're seeing some healing because health is at a B tier. Converts 20% of this character's current health to 180% of the damage to all enemies. Grants a bonus turn upon a defeat of an enemy. I love this move. But you are killing yourself to do it. And she already has a low health. So what are we really seeing? Right? We're seeing pretty much heavy damage, multiple hitting targets, killing herself, but then restoring it with her second ability. Low chance for defensive down. But reducing cooldowns on the defeat of an enemy or ascended any unit. So where are we going to rank Valeria? Valeria for me is an A tier, and she's even above Nicholas, and well, there we go. And I can speak from experience by using these 2 champions. Valeria is very, very squishy. She's dependent on crit rate, but when you line everything up, you put her with a good healer, or get that attack up and get that damage up, get that crit chance, crit damage up. She's healing herself for quite a bit. But she's a great fire champion. Resetting cooldowns is awesome. But I still wouldn't be super rush. Like, not drop everything you're doing because you pull a Valeria. If that makes sense. So there is my YouTube family. There is Lasir based off of move kits. So let me know what you think. We can go take a look at it real quick together. Once again, we have Evelyn first down is the only S tier. Valeria, Nicholas, Darkened Nicholas, Hugh, and Vance come in at A tier. Marion, Shadowblood, Marion, Scarlett, Kyle, and Evelyn coming in B tier. And then Anna and... what is her name? Freya coming in at C tier. I think it's fair where I put them based off move kits alone. Maybe Marion Shadowblood should be a low tier A, but I'm seeing B. But let me know in the comments down below if you've used them. Am I way off? Am I off? It's a lot of fun to read these kits, see how they work. Just learn about them and kind of judge them based solely off that. We can be wrong, we can be dead on. So it's really fun to see. So I appreciate everybody watching. Love y'all. We'll see you in the next one. I'm out.